Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. I am the logical leftist, Jeff Waldorf, and I got a show for you today. It's going to be interesting. So, we've got Donald Trump losing some very important court cases. We have people making fun of Pete Hegseth and the one of the dumbest DEI purges in history. Um, Actually, one of the first DEI purges in history, but nonetheless, it's both stupid and funny. People are dunking on Hegseth for that. We've got Donald Trump's plan to lower egg prices. That is not going to work. And so, and I'm going to tell you the reason why it's not going to work and why what they should actually focus on. So, oh, interesting. So we're gonna learn something. We're gonna learn something about economics. Apparently, we have Doge getting reined in. Oh, interesting. And then finally, an update to the story involving parents in Maine. Okay, that had to go to the SSA to register their newborns. So a bit of an update to that. Oh, fun. So, all right, it's a Good Friday show. So lots of good news. Still some bad news, but lots of dunking. So why don't we get to it? Please, before I do, like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. You can support us as well by going to patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf or become a member on YouTube. Super chats are always welcome. With that said, why don't we dive in? Welcome from Ireland. So, welcome to the stream. Good to see European friends tuning in to the shit show. Okay, that's happening. Sorry about all of it, especially to our Canadian friends. So, sorry to you as well. It I didn't vote for the guy. That's all I'm saying. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. I tried. I tried to inform people, but there were some issues. Okay, there were some things that got in the way. But anyway, let's go to first some good news, which is very strange. Hmm. Whoa, crazy. It appears that President Donald Trump has suffered a huge setback after a federal judge ordered him to reinstate Gwen Wilcox, a Democratic member of the National Labor Relations Board. So Wilcox pictured here. I know immediately what the right wing would be saying about her. DI. No, no. Okay, so I know they see black people as just DEI hires, right? But no, she's someone who is actually defending working people. You know, that whole idea that, oh no, Republicans, we're working out, working out, we're looking out for working people. No, you're not. You're looking out for billionaires. That's all you do. And that's what happened when you fired Gwen. That's what happened when you got rid of the FTC commissioner, Lena Khan, who actually was going after these corporations. Okay. They don't care. They love billionaires. They serve billionaires because a lot of them are Elon Musk, Donald Trump, etc. The richest cabinet in history. So anyway, Wilcox, when she was unjustly fired, filed a federal lawsuit. Okay. Now, this is along with General Counsel Jennifer Abruzzo. Now, on Thursday, U.S. District Judge Beryl Howell, who was appointed by former President Barack Obama. All right. So, of course, I have to play this. Obama. Okay. Ah, Obama foiled again. Anyway, Beryl Howell declared Wilcox's dismissal both unlawful and void. The Constitution and case law are clear in allowing Congress to limit the president's removal power and in allowing the courts to enjoin the executive branch from unlawful action, Howell wrote in a 36-page opinion. A president who touts an image of himself as a king or a dictator, perhaps as his vision of effective leadership, fundamentally misapprehends the role under Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution. Defendants' hyperbolic characterization that legislative and judicial checks on executive authority, as invoked by plaintiff, present extraordinary intrusions on the executive branch is both incorrect and troubling. The judge wrote, under our constitutional system, such checks by design guard against executive overreach and the risk such overreach would pose of autocracy. Yeah, you know, the founding fathers deposed one king. They didn't want the executive branch to become another. Okay? And so, yeah, all this makes sense. Which is funny, they call themselves, oh, we're constitutional originalists. We're the originalists. That's right. We actually look out for the Constitution. Yeah, we're following it. No, you're not. You're subverting it. You're trying to turn yourselves into dictators. Okay? That's it. Autocrats. All right? That's what y'all are doing. And thankfully, we still have some people in the judiciary that are against that, which is great. Now, in her takedown, the judge cited a February 19th social media post from the White House, which features the AI image of Donald Trump wearing a crown with text that states, "Long live the king." Oh, did that get used against you? Oh, weird. Oh, wow, that's very strange. I love it when their own words and actions and posts come back to haunt them.
Oh, no!
I love it. It's great. So now, she said, the president seems intent on pushing the bounds of his office and exercising his power in a manner violative of clear statutory law to test how much the courts will accept the notion of a presidency that is supreme. The courts are now again forced to determine how much encroachment on the legislature our Constitution can bear and face a slippery slope toward endorsing a presidency that is untouchable by the law. Look, a lot of this can actually be laid at the feet of the Supreme Court, okay? To be fair, of the judiciary, because remember, they gave Donald Trump immunity from prosecution. So he got immunity. And of course, you also had other, people in the Justice Department, for example, Merrick Garland, that did not go after Trump the way that he should have, certainly took his time to bring those charges. And of course, you had Donald Trump's delay tactic until the election. And so, yeah, there were a lot of faults that brought us to this place where Donald Trump now certainly feels like he is untouchable. Okay? When you give someone like Trump that kind of power, of course he's going to use it. He's going to test the boundaries of how much he can get away with. That's what he tried during the first, his first term, and now he's trying it, now, okay? And he's even more emboldened thanks to the Supreme Court. And by the way, also, thanks to congressional Republicans, who up until recently, okay, just basically last couple of days, were like, no, just let Trump do whatever he wants. They haven't been keen on stopping him, okay? That said, at least there is some signs that the court system is trying to rein him in, okay? And there was some celebration here. In fact, AFL-CIO President Liz Schuler said in a Thursday statement, more than a month after Trump effectively shut down the NLRB by illegally firing Gwen Wilcox, denying it the quorum it needs to hold union busters accountable, the court ordered Wilcox immediately return to her seat, allowing the NLRB to get back to its essential work. Awesome. The court also said an important message that a president cannot undermine an independent agency by simply removing a member of the board because he disagrees with their decisions. Working people around the country count on equal justice and fair decision-making from an independent NLRB, and today, because of Wilcox's commitment to the mission of the NLRB and her refusal to stand by as Trump illegally removed her from the board, they can get back to work. Yes! I love it. Now, that said, this is one small victory in a lot of losses, though. Now, look, Wilcox isn't the only federal worker that's challenged the president's power to fire people, okay? And it's amazing to think that that was not going to happen, considering how Trump made basically his career on firing people.
You're fired.
All right. Didn't think that he was going to do that? No, of course he was. All right. Now, Politico noted that on Thursday, a federal workplace watchdog fired by Trump at special counsel Hampton Dellinger dropped his legal bid to reclaim his post after a federal appeals court permitted his termination. So that's not good. Kathy Harris, a member of the Merit Systems Protection Board, which oversees the grievance process for many federal employees, is also resisting Trump's efforts to remove her and was reinstated last month by a federal judge. That case is likely going to go to the Supreme Court first. And then maybe Dellinger will be able to be on that case. I don't know. And this is also likely to go to the Supreme Court. So, look, that's why I'm kind of concerned. And I don't want to celebrate too much, even though these are small victories, right? It's still not done. The litigation will continue. This is going to likely end up in the conservative Supreme Court, okay? And they've been kind of mixed on some of their recent decisions, okay? So some of them did stop Donald Trump from doing what he wanted to do, and others did allow him to do what he wants to do. And so it could go either way. So I'm approaching this with a lot of caution, especially because it considers it's considering the labor board. I'm not exactly hopeful because they're never on the side of labor, but this also deals with presidential power. And so, I'm also concerned on that front because while the Supreme Court has given Trump a lot of power, they could give him more, but they might be resistant to it. I don't know which way it's going to go, guys. So I'm just being upfront and honest about this. That said, I'll take a small victory now, all right, just to continue to try to, keep the fight up, okay, to keep up the morale, because this is going to be a very long, very difficult 4 years, if not more, of fighting. And so, yeah, we got to take our victories where we can, take our W's, and, be able to be energized to continue the fight. Okay. Hey, hello, Boston Brian. Welcome. Good to see you here. Moving on, and good to see all of you here. Tyler, Emperor, TJ, all you wonderful people that have joined me here today. Obama. Gotta love that. All right. Let's move on here and talk about the dumbest purge in history. Yeah.
Stupid.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's DEI purge is getting mocked for wiping out history. Now, a database obtained by the Associated Press flagged photos and online posts that are set to be deleted, gone, for being too woke. That's right.
The wokers.
The woke. It has taken over. And now we must excise everything that is woke. Well, what do you mean by everything that is woke? Apparently, pictures of the Tuskegee Airmen, among other things. In fact, tens of thousands of photos and online posts were listed in what appears to be just a preliminary list of items that are running afoul of the Defense Department's attempt to comply with Donald Trump's executive order eliminating DEI. Okay, that's diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay, across federal agencies, more than 26,000 images have already been marked for removal across the military branches. One official told the AP as many as 100,000 images or posts could get swept up in Trump's purge. I do hope that there is someone out there right now in the agency that is backing these things up. Okay, because they're gonna need to. They're gonna need to have some backups for this. Okay, because a lot of this stuff, I should say most of this stuff, it is historical and not woke. Okay. Now, among the targeted materials, you had the photos of the Tuskegee Airmen, as I mentioned, which is the nation's first black military pilots. All right. An all female C 17 crew during Women's History Month, and images of Medal of Honor recipient Private First Class Harold Gonsalves. So they're getting rid of the Tuskegee Airmen. Apparently, they're too woke. They're too woke to have them there.
Woke.
Mm-hmm. And look, they're erasing them and also erasing any contribution from women, Black Americans, Latinos, etc. It's all being wiped out. Gone. Just absolutely gone. and we know why. All right? We know absolutely why.
The Republican Party's racist.
Okay. But it gets worse. And while getting worse, it also gets progressively dumber. In fact, the report noted that the order includes the word gay. And in some cases, materials appear to be marked for deletion because they included the word gay. Now, that happens to include the B-29 bomber called the Enola Gay, which dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima back in World War II. Oops. Yikes. Yeah. So, no, we got to get rid of that because DEI, gay. It's something that I can't, we can't say that here in the military.
Whoopsie.
Sure. The Enola Gay, by the way, was named after Enola Gay Tibbets, the mother of the aircraft's pilot, Colonel Paul Tibbets. A little bit of history for you. Since apparently these people don't know their history. Hey, all you conservatives out there that were so mad about erasing history. Oh, how dare you erase history? The context of that was removing statues of Confederate generals. But wait, the fact that there are these statues of Confederate generals doesn't have anything to do with learning the history of the Civil War. No, it's more veneration. Veneration for people who fought against the United States. So naturally, there was a lot of calls for, like, hey, take that down. Like, no, it's our history. It's our history. We're not going to learn our history if you take the statue down. Yeah, we are. Just open up a history book. It's all there. It's already written down. You don't need a freaking statue for that. Okay. But no, conservatives got big mad. Big mad. Oh my God. How dare you? You're erasing our history. You're erasing our history. No. That's not. Okay. But anyway, now, those same people, where are you now? When they're actually erasing history? Where are you? No, suddenly they don't care about the history because it's too woke. It's too woke. Of course. Now, even a routine Army Corps of Engineer project was flagged, apparently because an engineer in the photo had the last name Gay. Yeah. So,
We have to keep our country gay.
Now, the Pentagon's scramble to comply has led to widespread confusion, according to the AP. So, look, we know why they're doing this, okay? But apparently we seem to, from this, know how they're doing this, which is in the dumbest way possible. Some images appear to be deleted at random, while others remain publicly accessible. My guess is they did search, a search for gay, and then, started deleting things. That's it. That's how dumb they are. I mean, now, of course, this got a lot of reaction here. In fact, Fred Wellman, a U.S. Army combat veteran and host of the On Democracy podcast, said, "What a piece of crap you are, Secretary of Defense." He added, "Enola Gay, these effers are bigots and effing idiots too." 100%. 100%. Jewish Insider's Josh Kraschauer said, "Apparently the image of an Enola Gay bomber was removed because it has the word gay in it. You can't make this stuff up." Chris Mager, former spokesperson of the Pentagon, called the reporting quote-unquote bonkers. Chicago Tribune political reporter Rick Pearson said, "Including images of the Enola Gay and its flight crew because of the word gay, complete lunacy and an attempt to whitewash history." Michael Collier of the Greater Cleveland Partnership writes, "This isn't a joke. They literally flagged it because of DEI." Over on BlueSky, by the way, the mockery was even worse. Jennifer Langdon writes, "Idiocracy. Malevolent to be sure, but still. Chainsaw idiocracy." True. Kernby writes, "These people are stupid." Agreed.
Stupid.
All right. Ella, the Crescent Moon Bun, writes, "They really did just control F for woke words and started deciding to break stuff. That's amazing." Dinosaur Tendencies writes, "It's pathetic how little it takes to hurt these old white guys' fifis." True. Another said, "This is what you get with AI. No computer program has common sense. So ridiculous." No, you know what? That's probably a good point. It likely is AI because they're too, not only are they dumb, but also apparently incredibly lazy. It's almost as if, a lot of these people are the recipients of what they believe to be DEI, which is hiring the least qualified people based on the color of their skin. Least qualified. Yeah. All right. Other countries are watching America tank and laughing. Well, I mean, yeah. Really screwed the pooch on this one. All right. Let's move on here. Let's talk about eggs. President Donald Trump has heard your outrage over the price of eggs and has a plan to do something about it. Oh, now the only issue is his plan is not going to work because it's a bad plan. Now, Bloomberg reports that the administration, in their attempt to lower egg prices, is running into some issues. So how are they trying to combat higher egg prices? Well, it turns out they want to import lots and lots of eggs. Interesting. So now apparently this has been failing mainly due to the logistical challenges in importing what is a fragile agricultural product with a limited shelf life. To which I say,
Whoopsie.
Whoopsie, indeed. Now, that's not the only problem here, okay? Other countries, they're also struggling with bird flu, which is raising some of the prices. And so as a result, there's a little bit of a supply issue, and that's making these other countries reluctant to sell to the United States. And it might not just be for that reason, of course. It also could be the fact that because of Donald Trump, we are making ourselves into an international pariah. There's that part. But, there's still apparently some countries that are willing to sell us eggs. Turkey, for example, which plans to sell 15,000 tons to the U.S. through July, recently added their own export tax to control local prices, reports Bloomberg. Now, that country is also dealing with bird flu outbreaks, and eggs are important during the ongoing holy month of Ramadan, when families often gather for large meals after a day of fasting. So, yeah, there you go. Oops. Nan Dirk Mulder, an analyst at the financial firm Rabobank, tells Bloomberg that Trump's bid to replace domestic eggs with imports appeared doomed from the start. He said, it's a very local industry. If you want to rebalance the market, you need big volumes. It's almost impossible in the short term to do that. It's true. Now, Bloomberg notes that the United States would have to import between 70 million to 100 million eggs within the next month to make up the current gap produced by eggs lost to bird flu. That is a ton of eggs. A ton. Okay. That is a lot. Now, again, we've got a lot of problems here. Okay. And that's not even talking about the possibility of the retaliatory tariffs that could end up going into effect, which of course would likely make eggs even more expensive. So, I mean, it appears that this idea may be a bit rotten. Just a little bit. Now, what also is interesting here, though, is the fact that apparently not all of the price increases of eggs is a result of bird flu. Wait a minute here. Whoa. Now, this is according to a new report from Food and Water Watch. It was published on Wednesday, and it did note that while bird flu has slightly reduced egg production, they point the finger at corporate greed playing a major role. Shocker. Greedflation once again rearing its ugly head. Their report notes that about 10 companies control the vast majority of the eggs produced in America, and they dictate egg prices whether there's a bird flu outbreak or not. One of these companies, the Mississippi-based Maine Foods, for example, increased their profits by 7.5 times over the first year of the bird flu outbreak, despite not having outbreaks in their own flocks that very year. Oh, wow. During that fiscal year, from June 2022 through May of 2023, Maine sold 7% more eggs than in fiscal year 2021. Maine Foods commanded prices from its buyers that were much higher than needed to cover rising costs at a time when national egg prices were skyrocketing, said Amanda Starbuck, research director for Food and Water Watch. Basically, they just raised their prices and locked up with national prices they had no reason to. Now, of course, the CEO and the shareholders are like, we had all the reason to. We're making money. Money, 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 money. So, I'm sorry, I'm never going to do that again. But anyway, yes, it's all about money. It's all about profits. And so, yes, bird flu is an issue, of course. But so is corporate greed. The greedflation, the same thing that we saw a lot of companies do as a result of COVID. And so, yeah, this should not be shocking at all to anyone. And it's another reason, by the way, why Donald Trump's plan to import a whole bunch of eggs is not going to solve this. Okay? It's not going to solve this. Now, that said, obviously the real solution would be to crack down on this greedflation. Okay? And that would lower egg prices, so that we could finally have, I don't know, a market that is reflective of supply and demand instead of what we have now, which again is this artificially inflated as a result of corporate profits. But this administration will never go after corporations. No, because they're running the country like a corporation. Okay? They're not going to break up the monopolies. They got rid of Lena Khan at the FTC. They're not going to do any antitrust enforcement. They're not going to do any of that. At the end of the day, they represent big business because they are big business. And that's why we're never going to hit a handle on these egg prices. I'm pretty sure that higher eggs and higher groceries, they're here to stay. Y'all are doing math here in the chat, and it's making me feel dumb. So, eggflation. Yes, that's really good though. That's a great thing to call it. Eggflation. Poaching that from your scrambled mind. That's really good. Manipulate the commodity and dominate competition. Corporation 101 is public domain. 100% correct. You are absolutely right on that one. Nailing it. All right. Why don't we go back to some good news, I suppose. All right. With the unpopularity of DOGE and Elon Musk's influence over the federal government, President Donald Trump appears to be kind of starting to rein in the non-department department. Now, in a social media post on Thursday afternoon, over on his,
Truth, essential.
Trump suggested that DOGE will have less autonomy and need to be less reckless in its cuts in the future. He said, quote, DOGE has been an incredible success, and now that we have my cabinet in place, I have instructed the secretaries and leadership to work with them on cost-cutting measures and staffing. As the secretaries learn about and understand the people working for the various departments, they can be very precise as to who will remain and who will go. We say the scalpel rather than the hatchet. Oh, interesting. Now, of course, they were using the hatchet. In fact, they were using the chainsaw. So this is a very interesting change. Now, it comes after a federal judge last week ruled that it was likely illegal for the Office of Personnel Management, which has been taken over by Musk lackeys, of course, to direct agencies to fire thousands of employees. A lot of them happens to be veterans, okay? About 6,000 veterans had been fired across the federal government, I think, as of February, okay? So not even current numbers yet. Now, the administration, of course, likely knows that this is illegal, but I think they counted on basically the strategy of move fast and break things, right? And so break things so fast that it makes people's heads spin, all right? And so that everybody would be caught flat-footed and not know what to do, not know how to fight back, and more importantly, not know how to stop them. Now, that said, something that they didn't count on is how unpopular DOGE and Elon Musk would be at Republican town halls. So over the last week or so, you had a lot of Republican congressmen going to these town halls and getting obliterated by their own constituents. They're not Democrat plants, all right? People aren't going into the middle of Kansas, okay, and paying people to go to these town halls. These are their own constituents in very, very red districts that did very well with Trump during the election. People are going there and saying, we didn't elect Elon Musk. We don't want these cuts. Now, in theory, of course, a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, of course, we agree with the mission, cut waste, fraud, and abuse, right? But it is funny when they find out that, oh, it turns out we really don't have a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. And what you're doing is you're labeling these federal workers that actually do these very important jobs as waste. and in some cases firing us because we're the ones that are doing these jobs. So, yeah, a lot of pushback on those town halls. And not only that, but you've had a lot of court cases that have forced Trump to slow down just a little bit. So that's interesting. Now, in remarks from the Oval Office on Thursday, Trump said that he had convened a meeting with Elon Musk and several of his department heads and suggested that he would prefer his department heads to handle budget cuts. But, and this is really important here, Musk would still have a lot of influence. So it's a little bit of change, but not too much. Maybe it's more change on the outside, continuity on the inside. So here we go. He said, so I had a meeting and I said, I want the cabinet members to go first. Keep all the people you want. Everybody that you need. And so we're going to be watching them. And Elon and the group are going to be watching them. And if they can cut, it's better. And if they don't cut, then Elon will do the cutting. So not too much of a change. Okay, a little bit, but not much. All right. Now, Norm Eisen of the State Democracy Defenders Fund, a nonprofit legal group that's been challenging Musk and DOGE's actions in court, said the president's latest comments on Musk shows that he is feeling the heat to stop saying that his billionaire buddy is in charge. Interesting. He made clear that Musk and DOGE had been calling the shots. That's unconstitutional, Eisen said in a statement. Unfortunately, closing the barn door after the horse is bolted does no good. In fact, this attempted backtrack is an admission the vast chaos that Musk and DOGE have brought without proper approval and documentation is illegal and so must be completely unwound. So all the federal workers that were fired should have to come back to work. Now, Musk, of course, met with Republicans in the House and Senate on Wednesday and acknowledged that while DOGE had made some mistakes, we're going to keep keeping on. Okay. Now, these Republicans, in turn, are saying that while they support Musk and his efforts, they're going to have to try to pass legislation. So understand that Republicans are still keen on making these cuts and shrinking the size of the federal government, mainly, of course, to try to defang these agencies that go after, these corporate bad actors like Elon Musk. But now they're like, crap, we're going to actually have to do our jobs now. Ugh. Now, here's the thing, though. They try to make all these cuts. That's also going to backfire on them. I mean, a lot of people have been pissed off that Musk has been given too much power of the federal government. And so, but still ostensibly support the mission of DOGE. But when Republicans actually start making the cuts, first they're gonna try to thread this needle, right? But it's going to be very, very unpopular once they start making these cuts through Congress, and that's still going to reflect badly on members of Congress. So that's the problem, and it's because they're not actually confronting waste, fraud, and abuse. They're cutting agencies that they don't like. This has all been ideological. Okay. And again, for Musk, it's been agencies that could hold him accountable. And that's why he's been targeting places like the FAA, for example. Right. And speaking of the FAA, Starlink was getting contracts now over other companies. Seems a little weird. Seems a little bit like corruption, Now, of course, these conflicts of interest are legally precarious. And so Musk has been trying to distance himself from DOGE. And it's like, oh, no, I'm not the leader. I'm not leading DOGE. You know what? I don't have anything to do really with what they're doing, the day-to-day operations or anything like that. No, I'm not leading this, right? And then dummy Donald Trump comes out and says, oh, actually, you know what? Elon Musk, he's doing a great job running DOGE. During his televised speech to a joint session of Congress, Trump said that DOGE is headed by Elon Musk. Oops.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, I know. Not the smartest, okay?
And then they say, "Is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Yeah, no, smart person that might be getting Elon Musk into some more legal trouble. Okay? Because again, this would be massively improper, massively illegal. All right? In fact, the statement that Trump made has been introduced into court records in each case against Musk that as evidence that Musk indeed does lead DOGE. Oops. So he's in damage control right now. Both Trump and Musk, damage control. In fact, Musk recently told Republicans that all the cuts made to the government were not his fault. I didn't do it. Instead, he said in private talks this week that those decisions are left to the various federal agencies, of which his staffers have been, his little blunderkins, okay, have been going into these agencies and essentially taking them over. So, no, it is your fault. Now, that said, Representative Richard Hudson, who went into a dinner time pizza meeting with Musk in the basement of the Capitol, said Elon doesn't fire people. No, he doesn't have hiring and firing authority. Oh, okay. I mean, yes, that's true. That doesn't mean he hasn't tried to take that authority and fire people, because he has. Representative Carlos Jimenez, Republican of Florida, said Musk told lawmakers that some of the folks that were probationary people, he didn't fire them. They were actually supposedly fired by the agencies, and they messed up. Oh, they messed up? Jimenez says, well, yeah, if they were in fact, critical people, and the agency did the firing, then yeah, they messed up, but not him. Elon Musk did nothing wrong. Oh, okay. Another Republican Representative Andy Barr of Kentucky said that Musk went so far as to emphasize that not only had DOGE not recommended the mass termination of probationary employees, that he thought some federal agencies were either incompetent or sabotaging the effort. Oh, don't see, it's not my fault. I didn't do it. They're trying to tank me, everybody. That's what they're doing. Oh, the deep state, these corrupt officials firing people and then blaming it on me. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. Classic. No, this is the guy who at CPAC was holding up a chainsaw, saying he's gonna take a chainsaw to the bureaucracy. And that's what he did. But it turns out 30% of veterans were part of that bureaucracy. Okay, and cutting their jobs, it's not exactly popular. People didn't like that because, of course. And now both Trump and Musk, they're feeling the heat. And as such, they are scrambling. It's fun to see. Okay. One more story for y'all. And that is another backtrack. I mean, backpedal. What they're doing. Just over and over and over again. I love it. Now, the Trump administration faced furious backlash after the SSA temporarily had canceled some contracts that allowed hospitals in Maine to register newborns at birth. So for decades, new parents across the United States have been able to check a box on their hospital forms in order to request the Social Security numbers for their newborns. I mean, that seems to be, rather, a good thing to have. Okay. Now, that said, in Maine, that was shut down. Now, what does that mean? It means that new parents would have to go to the Social Security office in person and register their newborn in order to get them to have a Social Security number, which is really, really important. You kind of need one of those. So that is a massive inconvenience. Now, a spokesperson for the Maine Department of Health and Human Services told HuffPost on Thursday that the Social Security Administration said it had canceled 2 contracts with Maine's Vital Statistics program that support Social Security's electronic enumeration at birth program. As a result of the SSA's contract termination, effective immediately, Maine hospitals are no longer able to enroll newborns into Social Security at the time of birth, so parents would now need to visit their local Social Security office to apply in person for their child's Social Security number, said the Maine DHHS spokesperson in an email. Now, you can understand that new parents, they already have a lot on their plate, okay? Parents of newborns. And so, having to go to an SSA office, which, by the way, are already, even before all this, we're already, understaffed, okay? Overburdened. Now, you have these cuts, which have led to the closures of many of these offices. And so that adds on even more to, parents, especially parents, who now have to take time out of their day, find a babysitter if possible, or take their child with them. Sometimes it could be maybe an hour drive or even more to the local Social Security Administration office, in person between such and such hours, normal business hours, to go and get them registered for something that they need. This is not something that is optional. You need a Social Security number for a lot of different things, obviously. And look, this is the result of DOGE, by the way. Leland Dudek, the acting commissioner of the SSA, recently told senior staff this week that they had to let DOGE run amok. Oh, DOGE people are learning that they will make mistakes, but we have to let them see what is going on at SSA, Dudek told a group, according to the notes of a meeting obtained by the Washington Post. So we have to let them learn. No, you don't. They're not a real department. They're not a real agency. Okay? They're a non-department department. They're just supposed to be giving advice. Okay? And not be allowed into these systems, and certainly not be allowed to cancel these contracts. But, that's what they've been doing. Now, my question is, was this a mistake, or did they actually believe that these contracts were wasteful? And I wouldn't be surprised if it was either, okay? Because they have no idea what they're doing. They're not exactly well-versed in these things. And I'm being super, super nice about this, because I'm sure that, some of them know their basic programming, probably know more about some of the computer systems that, more than I do, certainly, because I'm not an expert in that. But when it comes to these programs, when it comes to these databases, they don't know what they're doing. They're completely out of their depth. I'm sorry, big balls, but you're out of your depth here. Okay? You don't really know what you're doing. That doesn't mean that you couldn't learn. At the same time, though, you shouldn't be rooting around in these systems. That's just not what you should be doing. Okay? And so they fired a lot of the people who knew what they were doing, or you sidestepped them. And so that's one of the big problems here. Okay? So now, that said, when you hear about the people being fired, brought back, fired again, and then brought back again, kind of makes sense, knowing that these people don't know what the hell they're doing. We have put the blunderkins in charge, all right? And this is what happens. This is what happens when you don't have merit-based staffing. I know they talk about, so we got to get rid of the DEI so we could do the merit-based, right? No, it turns out that the people that were fired, a lot of them fired because they were black or disabled. They knew what they were doing. They were running these agencies, and they were running them quite well, very efficiently. You came in and you wrecked that. claiming, oh, we got rid of the DEI, and now we got planes crashing everywhere. And now we get stuff like this happening in Maine. So it turns out, no, the DEI was actually good. The DEI actually made things run. And so the people over at the DOGE that are doing all this stuff, that are firing these people, illegally, of course, and canceling these contracts, they're the real DEI. Okay, so and look, not only has this led to many mistakes, but also the embarrassment of having to correct them, and that's exactly what they did. On Friday, the SSA announced that it had reinstated these contracts. In fact, Dudek sent a press release. I recently directed SSA employees to end 2 contracts which affected the good people of the state of Maine. In retrospect, I realized that ending these contracts created an undue burden on the people of Maine, which was not the intent. Sure. For that, I apologize and have directed that both contracts be immediately reinstated. Remember when they said that they were going to hire the best people? The greatest people? Yeah. Look, Dudek was a mid-level employee, okay? And I mentioned before how he was elevated over senior officials that might know better how to run the SSA, how to run it more efficiently, okay? Because it was already, by the way, run very efficiently before. They had very low administrative overhead and actually, in reality, extremely understaffed. All right? Big problem with understaffing at the SSA, understaffing at the VA, which is also looking to cut tens of thousands of employees. So that's going to impact services. They're firing thousands of people from these agencies that were vital to making sure that these agencies run. Okay, and again, I think that's the point. They don't want these agencies to run. They want them to fall apart, to further probably erode people's confidence and trust in government. But people are finding out very quickly that, hey, wait a minute. It turns out that these jobs are very, very important, that these services that we get from these agencies is vital. It's necessary. We need them. And that is having, of course, a negative effect on perceptions of Musk and DOGE and the Republicans' cost-cutting efforts. So, anyway, there is, by the way, one more possibility to all of this, right? For the canceling. And that could be because of Donald Trump and his pettiness. Remember, Trump was feuding with Maine's governor, Janet Mills, for refusing to ban transgender athletes in girls' sports. Okay? Which is not a problem. Okay? This is not a thing like the country needs to be going up in arms about. Trans people are less than 0.1%, I believe, of the population of the United States. There are so many states that don't even have any transgender athletes at all in sports. This is not a problem. This is not a thing to focus on. But Republicans have turned this into a moral panic. Now, Mills was like, I'm not gonna comply with this. Okay, with your stupid moral panic. And said that she would see you in court, telling Trump, over this directive during a recent meeting between governors and the president in Washington. As a result, Trump went all super petty and threw a fit. I'm going to withhold all the funding from Maine if you're not going to listen to me. Well, you know that federal funding, this would be a part of that. Okay? And so maybe this has to do with that, but we don't have an official reason. But I would rank Donald Trump's pettiness as one of the top reasons, along with, again, it could be either one of these things that I have already mentioned, just a general incompetence, not knowing what the hell they're doing. But also, Trump says we got to stop stuff from Maine, and so let's just stop this. Let's just pull something from this, okay? But now, oops, we have hurt women, with children, and it's super, super embarrassing. And so now we're gonna have to back it up before we hurt ourselves even more. I mean, that's how both stupid and petty this administration actually is. I tell you. So there you go. Someone said 10 transgender athletes in total. That can't be right. I'd guess more. Probably not that much more. I mean, it is such a staggeringly low amount of transgender athletes in schools, much less in the country. A literal handful of them. And so I wouldn't be surprised that if it was about 10, if not more, 14, something like that. It is just not a big issue. It is not something that the country needs to be up in arms about. But once again, thanks to the right wing moral panic and their control of all sorts of media, we have been the American people have been conditioned to believe that this is oh my God, it's such a huge issue of national importance that we're going to decide an election on. No, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's also extremely bigoted and just a terrible thing that there's been so much negative focus against a group of people who are just so incredibly vulnerable. It's ridiculous. All right. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. That wraps up the week, which this week has been, once again, a very, very long week. But that's what we're facing. Oh, by the way, Acosta King says, remove the cap on SSI. Yeah, remove the cap on Social Security, period. If you're talking about the tax cap, abso-freaking-lutely, because then we can fund it forever. And also give people on Social Security a raise, because they do not make very much. Hey, Letterhack, good to see you here. Thank you for joining the live stream. It's been a while. It's been a minute. But thank you for being here. It's always good to see you. It's always good to see all of you. By the way, on the live stream, I have missed doing these and missed seeing you guys in the chat and the comments and stuff. So thank you for being here. Now, if you want to sign up and support the show, you can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/jeffwaldorf, or sign up to become a channel member here on YouTube. Just hit the join button below or put the channel name in. And look, I've got a link in the description. You click on it, it's going to take you right to the join page. So, sign up, help out the show. We need you more than ever. So please sign up. All right. With that said, everybody have a fantastic weekend. Try to rest, recover, and get ready for the continued fight next week. So with that said, it is live, yes. Thank you all. Love you, and we'll see you back here